Hello everyone, welcome to the video about the exponent laws in the Mathematics 10. Before we start this lesson, you also need to know some prior knowledge. What does x to the power of 3 or x cubed means? Can you calculate the value of 2 to the power of 4? What does that mean? Well, x to the power of 3 is x times x times x. And the 2 to the power of 4 means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, multiplied by itself 4 times. That's what the exponents are. After this lesson, you should be able to use exponent laws to simplify expressions involving products, quotients, and powers. So why don't we start with the example question. Simplify expression x power of 5 times x power of 2 divided by x power of 3. So this is quite a messy expression. I see x multiple times and each of them have different powers. We don't like this kind of situation. So we're going to simplify it. Well, I think we can use the first exponent law on the numerator side. X power of 5 times x power of 2. Well, one rule that we know about exponent law is that if you're multiplying two powers with the same basis, we can add the exponents. So that's going to be x power of 5 plus 2 divided by x power of 3. So I've added the two exponents, and that's going to be x power of 7 divided by x power of 3. And then we have x power of 7 divided by x power of 3. Another exponent law that I know is that if you have a fraction with the same base, a fraction of powers with the same base, we can subtract the exponents. So that's going to be x power of 7 minus 3. And 7 minus 3 is 4. And that is a simplified expression, x power of 4. Let's annotate our process here. First thing that I did is I used the exponent law, and technically, it's called the product of powers. Same base, products. We add the exponents. And then we use another law called the quotient of powers. For the quotient of powers, for the same base powers, we subtract exponents. Now let's move on to the second example question. Simplify the expression bracket 2y cubed close bracket to the power of 2. So once again, this is not an ideal situation for us because we have a bracket, we have a square, we have exponents, we have product, blah, blah, blah. Let's try to simplify this. The first thing that I'm going to do is I notice that the square is on the bracket in each part of this bracket. So that means I'm going to distribute the squared into each factor. So that's going to be 2 squared multiplied by 2 to the power of 3 to the power of 2. Notice how I distributed the squared into each part. Well, I know that the 2 squared is equal to 4. But what about the latter part? Bracket y cubed close bracket squared. In that case, we know that we need to multiply the exponents. But that's called a power of a power rule. It's when you have a power of a power with bracket, then we multiply the exponents. So that's going to be y to the power of 3 times 2. And we know that 3 times 2 is 6. So the final answer is 4y to the power of 6. Once again, in this case, we use 2 exponent laws. Let us annotate our process here. The first exponent law that I used was the power of product. The power of product means the power is distributed to each factor in the product. So that's where the power is distributed to 2 and y to the power of 3. The next one we use is the power of power. That's where we used the y to the power of 3 to the power of 2. That's literally a power of a power. That's where we multiply the exponents. But make sure that you have the brackets first. So it's a bracket y cubed close bracket squared. Then we can use the power of a power. Let's review the vocabulary and the formula. In this class, there's quite a lot because we've learned all these exponent laws. Well, first of all, the base. The base is a number or variable that is multiplied by itself. So usually the base is the number that is written on the bottom, the lower left-hand side of the power. And the exponent is that small number that you put in the top right-hand corner, and the number that it indicates how many times the base is multiplied by itself. The power is the entire expression, including the base and the exponent. So the entire thing is called power. The lower left-hand side is called the base, and the upper right-hand side is called the exponent. And we have all these rules. The product of powers law, it means when multiplying powers with the same base, we add the exponents. The quotient of the power laws, which tells us when dividing powers with the same base, we subtract the exponents. And the power of a power law, saying when raising a power to another power, we multiply the exponents. And finally, the power of product law, same thing. We apply the exponent to each factor inside the parentheses. So you see that A is distributed to X and Y. There's one more as well, the power of a quotient. Same thing as the power of a product. The power is distributed to each factors in the numerator and the denominator. So that summarizes this video on exponent laws. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.